Welcome back to our 4-part saga on the Blackrock Orcs. In part 2, the clan faces a turning point as Orgrim Doomhammer challenges Blackhand in a brutal mak'gora, seizing leadership to steer the Horde from demonic corruption. Under Orgrim's command, the Blackrocks dominate the First and Second Wars, forging war machines in Khaz Modan and battling to the bitter end at Blackrock Mountain. But as defeat looms, a new Dark Horde rises under Blackhand's sons, and a demonic legacy resurfaces to threaten Azeroth. Join us as we delve into the Blackrock's triumphs, betrayals, and unrelenting fight for power. A critical opportunity arose when Gul'dan, the architect of the Horde's spell-infused power, fell into a coma, an event that temporarily disrupted the Shadow Council's grip on the Horde. Seizing this moment, Orgrim, driven by his desire to purge the corruption that had damned his people, challenged Blackhand to mak'gora, the traditional orc duel of honor that would determine leadership through single combat. This was no mere grab for power, but Orgrim, it was a desperate act to save the Horde from its descent into demonic servitude. The duel was a brutal and defining moment in orc history. Blackhand, a towering warrior whose strength and ferocity had earned him the title of War Chief, was a formidable opponent. Yet Orgrim, wielding the legendary Doomhammer, a weapon passed down through his family and imbued with ancestral significance, proved his equal in combat. The clash culminated in a decisive and gruesome blow. Orgrim crushed Blackhand's skull with a single, devastating strike from the Doomhammer, ending the Warchief's reign in an instant. With Blackhand's death, Orgrim Doomhammer was declared the new Warchief of the Horde, assuming command of its vast armies in the midst of the First War. Additionally, as a prominent member of the Blackrock clan, he claimed the mantle of chieftain, consolidating his authority over both the clan and the broader Horde. Orgrim's ascension marked a turning point for the Blackrocks and the Horde as a whole. As Warchief, he sought to steer the orcs away from the demonic influences that had corrupted them under Blackhand and Gul'dan, emphasizing military honor and unity. However, the Blackrock clan's role in the war remained central, as their warriors continued to lead the Horde's assault against the humans. Orgrim's leadership brought a renewed focus on discipline and strategy, leveraging the Blackrock's strengths to maintain the Horde's momentum in the war, even as he grappled with internal challenge of rooting out the Shadow Council's lingering influence. The Blackrock clan, now under Orgrim's command, stood as a symbol of both the Horde's might and its potential for redemption, their fate intertwined with the outcome of the First War and the broader struggle for the soul of the Orc people. The Second War. Despite the heavy toll exacted by years of relentless warfare, the Blackrock clan remained the most formidable and influential force within the Orc Horde during the waning days of the First War and into the Second War. Their strength, both in numbers and in military discipline, allowed them to dominate the Horde's strategic direction, shaping the course of the war under the leadership of Warchief Orgrim Doomhammer. The Blackrock Orcs' fanatical loyalty to Orgrim, forged through his decisive leadership and sharing the clan heritage, ensured that they followed his commands without question, willing to lay down their lives for his vision of a unified and redeemed Horde. This loyalty intimidated the lesser clans, compelling them to fall into line behind Orgrim's leadership, even as internal tensions and the lingering influence of demonic corruption threatened to fracture the Horde's unity. The Blackrock's reputation as the Horde's backbone, coupled with their mastery of warfare and craftsmanship, made them a force to be reckoned with, both on the battlefield and within the Horde's hierarchy. As the First War drew to a close with the fall of Stormwind City, the Blackrock clan faced new challenges in sustaining the Horde's war machine. The city's forges, which could have been a valuable resource for producing weapons and armor, were largely reduced to ruins by the fires that had ravaged the human capital during the Horde's siege. Nevertheless, the resourceful Black Orcs commandeered what remained of these forges, working tirelessly to restore them and produce new armaments to replenish the Horde's dwindling supplies. Their expertise in metallurgy, honed over generations in Gorgron's volcanic foundries, allowed them to adapt to these adverse conditions, though the task was daunting. Meanwhile, the re-emergence of Gul'dan, who had awakened from his coma, introduced a new and unsettling development: the creation of Death Knights, necromantic abominations crafted from the souls of fallen orcs bound to undead bodies. Orgrim, deeply distrustful of Gul'dan's motives and the dark magic that fueled these undead creatures, ordered Blackrock warriors to closely monitor the Death Knights. Secretly, the Warchief planned to eliminate both Gul'dan and his undead soldiers once the Horde secured victory over the human kingdoms, viewing them as a continuation of demonic corruption he sought to eradicate. As the Horde expanded its conquests into Khaz Modan during the Second War, Orgrim leveraged the Blackrock clan's expertise to exploit the region's rich resources. After the Bleeding Hollow clan was stationed to contain the dwarfs and gnomes within the fortified cities of Ironforge and Gnomerigan, Orgrim tasked his Blackrock Orcs with mining the surrounding mountains and seizing control of the dwarfs' renowned forges. The Blackrocks' relentless efficiency transformed Khaz Modan into a hub of industrial activity, with thick, acrid smoke blanketing the region as their forges operated day and night. Blackrock blacksmiths, drawing on their ancestral knowledge of crafting of Blackrock ore, produced a steady stream of weapons, armor, and massive siege engines, which were distributed across the Horde to prepare for a major offensive against the northern human kingdom of Lordaeron. This industrial might, driven by the Blackrocks' discipline and skill, significantly bolstered the Horde's military capabilities, enabling them to press deeper into Alliance territory. During the Horde's northward advance from Hillsbrad foothills towards the elven lands of Quel'Thalas, the Blackrock clan again proved their strategic value. Varrock Saurfang, one of Orgrim's most trusted lieutenants and a stalwart Blackrock warrior, was tasked with commanding a rear guard of Blackrock Orcs to delay the pursuing Alliance forces. This critical mission allowed the main body of the Horde to cross the Hillsbrad region and navigate a treacherous mountain pass into the hinterlands, securing a vital strategic advantage. Saurfang's leadership and the Blackrock's tenacity ensured that the Alliance was held at bay long enough for the Horde to reposition, demonstrating the clan's indispensable role in executing Orgrim's broader war strategy. However, the Horde's fortunes turned with their ultimate defeat at the Battle of Blackrock Mountain, a crushing blow that marked the end of the Second War. In the aftermath, the remnants of the Blacktooth Grin clan, led by Rend and Maim Blackhand, sons of the slain Warchief Blackhand, rallied surviving Blackrock Orcs and other Horde stragglers. Waiting until the Alliance forces withdrew from the region, they stealthily reclaimed Blackrock Spire, a towering stronghold within the mountain. There, they struck an uneasy bargain with the Dark Iron Dwarves, who had long inhabited the lower depths of the mountain. The agreement allowed the dwarves to retreat deeper underground while the orcs occupied the upper levels, though both sides harbored intentions of betraying the other when the opportunity arose. This tenuous alliance was a pragmatic move to secure a defensible position, but it underscored the fragile state of the Blackrock clan in the wake of their defeat. At Blackrock Spire, Rend declared himself Warchief of the new Horde and chieftain of the weakened Blackrock clan, openly defying Orgrim Doomhammer, who he and Maim blamed for their father's death and the Horde's collapse. The brothers, fueled by vengeance and ambition, sought to rebuild the Horde according to their own vision, reaching out to other surviving Orc factions. While Kilrog Deadeye and the Bleeding Hollow clan dismissed their overtures, the Dragonmaw clan pledged their support, offering to provide enslaved dragons to bolster the Blackrock forces if needed. This alliance strengthened the Blackrock's position, though their numbers and influence were a shadow of their former glory. Meanwhile, many Blackrock Orcs who had been captured by the Alliance during the war's final battles were interned at camps across Lordaeron, subjected to harsh conditions, and stripped of their freedom. Years later, Thrall, Orgrim Doomhammer's successor and a visionary leader committed to restoring the Orcs' honor, liberated these imprisoned Blackrock Orcs from the Alliance's internment camps. Inspired by Thrall's vision of a reformed Horde that honored its ancestral traditions while rejecting demonic corruption, many of these Blackrock survivors joined the modern Horde, integrating into its ranks and contributing to its efforts to establish a new home in Kalimdor. However, the Blackrock clan's legacy remained complex, marked by their storied dominance, their role in the Horde's conquests, and the internal divisions that emerged under Rend and Maim's leadership at Blackrock Spire. The clan's journey from the heights of power to the brink of destruction and eventual redemption reflected the struggles of the Orc people in the aftermath of the Second War. The Third War. In the turbulent period leading up to the Third War, the Blackrock clan in southern Lordaeron underwent a dramatic and troubling resurgence of their demon-worshipping heritage, a dark legacy rooted in their earlier embrace of fell magic under Gul'dan's influence. This faction of the Blackrock clan, based primarily in the regions around Blackrock Spire and led by figures like Rend Blackhand, rejected the formal ideals of Thrall's new Horde and instead doubled down on their allegiance to the Burning Legion, the demonic force that had once manipulated the Orcs into waging war in Azeroth. Clan's warlocks, deep in the dark arts, began prophesizing cataclysmic events, foretelling that demons would soon rain from the sky and engulf the world in flames, an ominous prediction of the impending invasion by the Burning Legion. These uprisings, characterized by raids and sacrifices in the name of their demonic masters, posed a significant threat to the human kingdoms of Lordaeron, already strained by internal conflicts and external pressures. The Blackrock clan's actions forced the Alliance to respond decisively, prompting King Tyrannus Menethil II to dispatch his son, Prince Arthas Menethil, alongside the revered paladin Uther the Lightbringer, to quell the growing menace. Arthas and Uther's mission began with a confrontation in the village of Strahd, a defenseless settlement targeted by a Blackrock raiding party led by the brutal figure known as the Slave Master. The Orcs, driven by their fanatical devotion to the Legion, attacked the village, capturing several villagers to use as sacrificial offerings in their demonic rituals. Arthas, still a young and idealistic prince, led a swift counterattack that repelled the Blackrock forces and slew the Slave Master, but not before the Orcs succeeded in abducting some of Strahmbrad's residents to their nearby encampment. Uther, hoping to avoid further bloodshed, attempted to negotiate with the Blackrock Blade Master leading the encampment, but his efforts at diplomacy were met with defiance. The Blade Master, unwavering in his commitment to the Burning Legion, formed a gruesome ritual, sacrificing the captured villagers to honor his demonic patron. Enraged and alarmed, Arthas led a direct assault on the Blade Master's lair, ultimately killing the Orc leader and disrupting the ritual. Disturbed by the nature of the sacrifices, Arthas confided in Uther his suspicion that the Blackrocks were attempting to summon demons to Azeroth. Uther, a veteran of the Second War and skeptical of the Orcs' ability to wield such power again, dismissed Arthas' concerns, reassuring him that the Orcs were merely clinging to outdated traditions and that their demonic threat had been vanquished long ago. This misjudgment, born of Uther's confidence in the Alliance's past victories, would prove tragically short-sighted as the Burning Legion's influence continued to grow. Months later, as the Undead Scourge, now under the control of the Burning Legion, began its devastating rampage across Lordaeron, a Blackrock encampment near the Blackrock Mountains, led by the warlock Jubithos and a cadre of Blade Masters and Farseers, maintained a functional demon gate. This portal, a relic of the Orcs' earlier demonic pacts, was a critical asset for communicating with the Legion's leaders. The Blackrocks, fiercely loyal to their vision of the Legion as their true masters, saw themselves as the rightful servants of the demons, viewing the Scourge's undead forces as inferior and impure. When Arthas, now corrupted and serving as a Death Knight of the Scourge, and the Lich Kel'Thuzad arrived to seize the Demon Gate, the Blackrocks defiantly proclaimed that the Legion had sent undead to test their worth. Kel'Thuzad, dismissive of the Orcs' claims, declared that the Blackrocks had failed the Legion and were no longer favored by their demonic overlords, marking them for destruction. Arthas, still grappling with the complexities of his new allegiance, questioned how the demon-worshipping Blackrocks fit into the dynamic between the Legion and the Scourge. Kel'Thuzad offered a cryptic explanation, noting that the relationship was intricate, but that the Orcs' time as the Legion's favored agents had ended. In a brutal assault, Arthas and the Scourge overwhelmed the Blackrock encampment, slaughtering Jubithos and his forces. The Demon Gate secured, Kel'Thuzad successfully contacted the Demon Lord Archimond, paving the way for the Legion's invasion to escalate. The Blackrock's defeat at Alterac is a stark reminder of their diminished status in the eyes of the Legion, which had shifted its focus to the Scourge as its primary instrument of destruction. Meanwhile, a separate faction of the Blackrock clan, those who had joined Thrall's new horde after their liberation from the Alliance internment camps, played a noticeably different role. These Orcs, loyal to Thrall's vision of a redeemed and honorable horde, contributed to the establishment of Orgrimmar, the horde's new capital in Kalimdor. Their presence was symbolized by the Blackrock's banner prominently displayed at the city's entrance, as noted by the warrior Rexxar during his visit to Orgrimmar. This faction of the Blackrock clan embraced Thrall's rejection of demonic influence, focusing instead on building a new future for the Orcs through unity and strength. The stark contrast between these Blackrocks and their demonic-worshipping kin in Lordaeron underscored the deep schism within the clan, formed between those who clung to the corrupting allure of the Burning Legion and those who sought redemption under Thrall's leadership. The Blackrock clan's dual legacy, as both a destructive force aligned with the Legion and a foundational element of the new horde, reflected the broader struggle of the Orc people to reconcile their past with their aspirations for a better future. The Dark Horde. In the aftermath of the Second War, War Chief Rend and Maim Blackhand, alongside his brother Maim, established Blackrock Spire as a new stronghold for their faction of the Blackrock clan, carving out a precarious home for their people in the volatile region of the Burning Steppes. Spire, tower and fortress within Blackrock Mountain, became a symbol of their defiance against both the Alliance and the new horde led by Thrall. However, their control was contested by the Dark Iron Dwarves, who occupied the lower depths of the mountain. The ongoing conflict between the Blackrocks and the Dark Iron Dwarves was marked by skirmishes, betrayals, and a mutual understanding that their uneasy truce was merely a temporary convenience, with both sides plotting to seize full control of the mountain. Into this volatile dynamic entered Nefarian, the cunning and malevolent son of the Black Dragon Deathwing. Nefarian, seeking to expand his own power, subjugated the Blackrock Orcs, bending them to his will through a combination of coercion and manipulation. Under his dominion, the Blackrocks became little more than beasts of burden and cannon fodder for the Black Dragonflight. serving as a brute force behind Nefarian's schemes to dominate the region. Together with their allies, including remnants of other Orc clans and Dark allies, they formed the so-called Dark Horde, a faction wholly devoted to Nefarian's ambitions and starkly opposed to the ideals of Thrall's reformed Horde. Meanwhile, another contingent of Blackrock Orcs, led by the warlord Galthazog, extended their influence beyond the Burning Steppes, launching a campaign to seize Stonewatch Keep in the Red Ridge Mountains. With the aid of the human warlock Morganth, whose dark magic amplified the Orcs' savagery, the Blackrocks overwhelmed the Keep's defenders in a brutal assault, leaving a trail of destruction and fallen human soldiers. The ferocity of their attack, fueled by Morganth's sinister sorcery, shocked the region's inhabitants. However, this alliance proved short-lived, as Morganth abruptly betrayed Galthazog and the Blackrocks, retreating to construct the Tower of Ilgalar and raising an army of Shadowhide gnolls. These gnolls, under Morganth's command, began attacking both humans and Blackrock Orcs indiscriminately, sowing chaos in Red Ridge. The reason for Morganth's betrayal remained shrouded in mystery, though later discoveries suggest he was pursuing the Scythe of Elune, a powerful artifact tied to ancient elven magic. From Stonewatch Keep, Galthazog's Blackrock forces continued their raids, terrorizing the areas north of Lakeshire and effectively trapping its citizens within the town. In one particularly devastating offensive, the Blackrocks launched a direct assault on Lakeshire, slaughtering many residents and destroying the bridge over Lake Everstill, crippling the town's defenses and supply lines. To bolster their attacks, the Blackrocks employed Shadowcasters wielding Midnight Orbs, dark magical artifacts that enhanced their destructive capabilities, while Outrunners and Renegades, led by the cunning and ruthless Orc Tharlzan, conducted ambushes along the roads between Lakeshire and Stonewatch, further isolating the town. Their relentless Blackrock incursions prompted Lakeshire's magistrate, Solomon, to appeal to Ironforge for aid. Princess Moria Bronzebeard volunteered to lead a relief effort, but her caravan was ambushed by Dark Iron Dwarves while passing through the Burning Steppes, resulting in her capture along with her guards. King Magni Bronzebeard, however, remained dismissive of the Blackrock threat, believing their numbers were too diminished to pose a lasting danger and that they would eventually fade into obscurity. This underestimation reflected a broader complacency within some Alliance leaders, who failed to recognize the growing influence of the Black Dragonflight behind the Blackrock's aggression. In the nearby Searing Gorge, the dwarf Latharic the Black, a servant of the fire elemental lord Ragnaros, created the golem Obsidian, with the intent of destroying the Blackrock Orcs and unifying the Dark Iron Dwarves with their kin in Blackrock depths. This act underscores the complex web of rivalries and alliances in the region, with the Blackrocks caught between multiple factions vying for control. From Orgrim Doomhammer's fateful mak'gora to the Blackrock clan's triumphs and defeats across two wars, their legacy burns bright yet fractured. As a Dark Horde rises under new masters and the old demonic ties resurface, a greater threat looms in Azeroth's shattered lands. Next time, we'll uncover the Blackrock's ruthless ambitions in the wake of the Cataclysm, their dark alliances, and the heroes who stood against them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to join us for the next chapter of this epic saga of power and betrayal in Azeroth.